What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, and rookie season, rookie fever, all that's in full effect right now. We got Kadarius Toney in people's top fives. We got Chris Sims putting Kellen Mond ahead of Trey Lance and Justin Fields.
Is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
Just a lot of people on Twitter that need to be drug tested, but I just want to kind of take a step back here. Let's cleanse the palate. Let me give you guys a clean top 5 rookie running back rankings. I'm going to keep these short and sweet, some clean analysis. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty. I don't want to really dive into these prospects because I have this other series going on right now where I dive in deep. And when I mean deep, I mean if at any point you guys are fucking with the video, fucking with the content, make sure you go down below, subscribe, leave a like, and I got a Discord link down there. In there, if you got any trade talks, you kind of want to pick my brain about any of my rookie rankings, you got a question about the video, maybe you want some life advice, maybe your girlfriend's giving you some problems, just go down below, join the Discord, leave a like on the video, and subscribe, man. It's free. But like I said, we're gonna get a nice broad look of these prospects today. So sit back, relax, grab a nice hot cup of cocoa, whatever's your drink of choice. And let's get into it. Let's go.
Okay, me and my two we like Ed and Eddie. I'm Zach, you AC, that Jesse and Kelly.
First up on this list, the top of tier 1, the creme de la creme. We have Travis Etienne, the most explosive player at the position. He's almost like the Bakugo. For any of you guys out there that watch fucking Hero Academia, you guys know, just straight bombs. Travis Etienne, he's a threat to take it to the house every time he touches the ball. He ran a 4.43 in high school, and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that he had 4.4 speed in high school. He probably has high 4.3, low 4.4. That's the thing about right now in the in the process. We don't know what these players are going to run. We don't have 40 times for these players. I have a rookie database. It's in the Patreon. Check it out down below. My projected 40 times are based off of high school times, the buzz around the league, what they did at their school's pro day 2 years ago. And you know that Clemson's fluffing up those numbers. Oh, a guy ran a 4.35, but he actually ran a 4.31. They just chalk up the numbers by 0.05. I'm going to come out with another top 5 after the combine. And I know there's not going to be an actual combine, but there's going to be a virtual one. And those numbers will be certified by the time we get there. Now, back to Travis Etienne's speed and what he does as a home run hitter. He has almost Chris Johnson type tendencies. You know, that CJ2K type run style where you can get it to him in the flat. You can give him a handoff up the middle. He's a threat to break it loose. And this is the craziest stat that I found during the whole research I've done for this video is that in 11 games, he had a reception or a rush of 50 plus yards. Javonte Williams and Naji Harrison, the two other premier backs of this class who I love, they both only did that one time each in a college game. So one more time. In case if that went over your head a little bit, Travis Etienne during his 4 years in college had a play of 50 or more yards from scrimmage 11 times in a single game. Naji Harrison, Javonte Williams, both explosive players, both great players, only went over 50 yards from scrimmage in a single play in a single game, one time each in their college career. And it shows you guys the type of player that Etienne is. We want guys that pop. We want guys that score touchdowns, guys that give you big splash plays because those are the big fantasy plays in fantasy football. And he profiles of that kind of back. And it's not just some fluke stat or his 40-yard dash time. He averaged 7.2 yards per carry and 7.7 yards per touch in college over his entire career. He became ACC's all-time leading rusher, so it's not a small sample size. He probably has the biggest sample size of all these guys, and he still maintained 7.2 yards per carry over his entire career, which is insane. At any point in time, you could give the man the ball 2 times on a given drive, and it's a guaranteed first down. That kind of ability, that kind of explosiveness is insane. And he's not just a straight line runner. He's not just going to. You don't need to have huge, immense gaping holes. He's not a guy that needs insane blocking. I know that Clemson's a top tier school, but they're not pumping out guys like Notre Dame is, where they're pumping out Ronnie Staley, Mike McGlinchey, Quentin Nelson. They are a good school, but they aren't some powerhouse when it comes to the O-line. They're not out here just completely busting holes wide open for him. And I'm not going to say he has an insane amount of wiggle and juke moves, but he has really good contact balance. He kind of reminds me of Alvin Kamara in a way when he runs the ball. He just has people bounce off of him. He has really good balance. He maintains his momentum. And not only that, it shows on the stat sheet too. That's what we want. We want these types of plays, what we see on the tape, to translate to the advanced stats. Travis Etienne, in his entire career, averaged 4.11 yards per rush after contact, which is the most ever in the college football era. College football playoff era. It's the same difference between Etienne and number 2 as 2 and 18. That is an insane stat. The amount of yards that he creates after contact per rush is immense. 4 yards after the first guy hits off of him. In the NFL, you want guys that aren't going to go down on first contact. You don't want guys that get blown up behind the line of scrimmage. And all of this, he's a great runner. He has the home run ability. And to kind of complete this entire picture we're painting, he's also a complete back. He had 85 catches in his last 2 seasons, averaging over 12 yards per reception, which is insane. At any point in time you give him the ball, he's going for a first down. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to be able to line up in the slot and catch routes like Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, or run routes like Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. But just get him the ball in space, get it on a dump route, wheel route into the flat, check down, anything like that. Get him the ball in space, and he's going to be electric. He's going to make moves in space. And he's not only a great receiver, a great home run threat, a great runner, and the all-time leading rusher in the ACC. He also is a really good running back prospect in terms of breaking out at an early age. As a freshman in college, he had 823 yards from scrimmage and 13 touchdowns on a top 5 Clemson team. We want players that produce early. We want guys that have the early breakout age, the guys that break out as a freshman, because if you can come onto a team at 18 years old and dominate against other 20 and 21-year-old players, that holds a lot more weight to me than if a guy comes out and he breaks out as a senior and he dominates against 20 and 21-year-olds. That's cool, but we want the player that excels against like really good competition. And not only that, if he breaks out as an 18-year-old against other 21-year-olds, and he comes into the league as a 20, 21-year-old, he's going to excel against other 25, 26-year-olds. It's just indicative of his future success. So I love his all-purpose skill set. I love his speed. The only real questions now, let me take a step back, I'm kind of in love with Travis Etienne, the prospect, but I will say we don't have the combine yet. Like I said, I need that official weigh-in, because right now he's listed at 5'10", 205, which is really, really on the edge of workhorse, every down skill set type vibes. If he weighs in at 210, 215, he's going to be my RB1 by a lot. But if he weighs in that 195, 200-pound range, now we're looking at a satellite plus back like Austin Eckler, and that's when you move him down. Austin Eckler, great in his own right, but he's not a stone RB1, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift looking type guy. I know some of you guys just heard me talk about Travis Etienne and number 1, and I know a lot of you guys have Naji Harrison number 1. I know the consensus is Naji Harrison number 1. I'm going to step back and say real quick, I love Naji Harris. I think Naji Harris is a great running back prospect. I think he's a great running back. It's no knock on him that he's number 2. It's a super close gap. They're not only back-to-back in my rookie rankings, but they're back-to-back in my dynasty rankings too. They're really not too far off. In a perfect world, if Naji Harris gets first-round draft capital and he runs a 4.5, he might be my RB1. It's just that I have some questions about his top-end speed. I'm not sure. Maybe he's a 4.6 guy. Maybe he's like a 4.62, 4.63 guy. And I'm not saying that definitively. He could completely go out there, run a 4.5, run a 4.52, and it wouldn't surprise me. If he does that, then he's my RB1. I just need him to answer those questions that I have when I watch him on film. Just to be clear, I'm not a certified film guy. I would consider myself an analytics guy, but I would say I'm probably like 80% analytics, 20% film. I watch the highlights or the game film, from time to time on these prospects, especially like the top end guys like a Naji Harris. I love especially Naji Harris. He's really fun to watch. He has the trucking ability. He's hurdling guys on the field. He's really fun to watch. He looks kind of like what Eddie Lacy was supposed to be coming out of Alabama. But the major drawbacks I have as to why he's number 2 on my list is he doesn't break a lot of big runs. He churns out yards, which is cool. But I need him, like I said, I just have that question mark of his 40-yard dash. He gets caught from behind a couple times. He can break tackles and catch, but so could David Montgomery. And he's 23 years old and didn't break out until his junior season, even though he was a 5-star recruit. He was supposed to come in, be the man. And I know that he was in there with Josh Jacobs, Damian Harris, cats like that. But I still just can't say that he was a freshman breakout like Travis Etienne. I want a guy that comes in and really dominates. But the things I love about his profile is his size and his size as a receiver. The only running backs in my database with over 27 receptions in a single season were 205 pounds or left. This fucking guy, Naji Harris, is 6'2", 230 pounds of twisted steel. The guy is a grown-ass man, and he looks like Le'Veon Bell, Steven Jackson. These are big, physical backs that can also catch passes and do something with it. Steven Jackson had 44 catches in his last season at Oregon State. These are guys that are big physical backs with legit receiving games, and the biggest pro of that is you never have to take him off the field. With Naji Harris, Travis Etienne, he's a thinner guy. Like I said, Naji Harris, if he kills it at the combine, he gets that first-round draft capital. If he gets drafted before Travis Etienne, he's my RB1. The thing about Travis Etienne is on the goal line, some people might be hesitant with that. Some people might be hesitant to slam him between the tackles, but with a Naji Harris, goal line, short yard situation, first and 10. All of these are going to go to Naji Harris, third down situation. He can pass block. He can catch out of the backfield. All of that. He's an all-purpose skill set back that I don't see them ever taking him off the field unless he comes into a situation like David Montgomery did, where you have Tariq Cohen in that backfield, but he profiles as an every down running back as far as I'm concerned. Javonte Williams is the last running back I have in tier 1, and he might be my favorite running back of tier 1, just in terms of really loving the way that he looks on the field and loving what his prospect profile is. If he kills the combine, remember, like I said, we need, like, when I say the combine, I just mean like the virtual combine, whatever his like regional pro day is, whatever he does, whatever his official 40 time, that's what matters to me. So when all these guys have their official times and we really see what we're working with these guys, then I can really break down what these players are. The only thing that matters for right now without combine stuff is honestly the tiers. Like, we're splitting hairs here, debating who's 1, 2, and 3. But Javonte Williams, like I said, he's one of my favorite guys. He was the only underclassman of tier 1. He's 21 years old, full 2 years younger than Naji Harris. We want youth with these running backs. Even if he's not quite the running back that Naji Harris is, remember, running backs, they fall off a cliff once they're 26, 27. Remember, think Melvin Gordon, think Le'Veon Bell. I know that we have the Derrick Henrys of the world out there, but most running backs fall off the cliff by the time of 26. Todd Gurley's out there too, David Johnson. So when you get Naji Harrison to the league at 23, we're talking 4th year of that rookie deal. He's heading on the back end of his prime by then. And that's just straight facts. Like, if anybody wants to check me on that, I can put it in the comments. But the running back age apex is 26. That's where the peak is. And then by age 26, that's when a running back starts to decline. And when a running back declines, it's a steep cliff. We've seen that type of we've seen Le'Veon Bell just completely go out of his prime. He can't even, once Clyde Edwards-Helaire was off the field for the Chiefs, he literally couldn't even earn a carry. But back to Javonte Williams. The best part about him is the thickness, the size. He's got that voluptuous shape, 5'10", 220. Just a full-on man. He has the second highest BMI of this class. He runs super physical. He reminds me of Darius Geis. He lowers his shoulder. He runs people over. He's just a wrecking ball. He kind of looks like Eddie Lacy. I know they just made that comparison with Naji Harris, but they're both those big type of physical backs. And I want to make it clear, Javonte Williams, he looks like Eddie Lacy before Eddie Lacy got big, when he had the eating problems. And it's not only does it show on the screen, but it shows in the advanced stats, which, again, we love to see it. He led the NCAA in forced missed tackles per carry last season with 0.48 per carry. Pretty much forcing a missed tackle every other carry, which is, again, what we want. We want guys that don't need to have the widest of wide running lanes to make a play. We want a guy that can just get out in space, make a man miss, and get a nice chunk play. He's a great pure runner. He's also an elite pass catcher. He had 25 receptions in his final season, which doesn't really compare to Travis Etienne's 48 and Najee Harris's 43. But here's the thing. You have to remember, he did it on 12.2 yards per reception, so he's not just taking dump passes. I've seen him catch passes down the field on post routes, on Texas routes. But the thing is, he had 25 receptions with Michael Carter in the backfield. Michael Carter is a guy that I have around like RB7, RB8. He's kind of like a Gio Bernard type guy. He's a receiving back plus, kind of like an Austin Eckler. And when you can get 25 receptions in the same backfield as a guy that's also getting 20 to 25 receptions per season, then at that point, I can trust that you're a great pass catcher because you're replacing a Gio Bernard level receiving back in passing situations. So when you break down the fact that he was competing with Michael Carter, you can kind of forgive 25 receptions, even though 25 receptions is a great number to have. I just think that it holds even more weight knowing Michael Carter was back there. And another thing that we have to account for with Michael Carter is Javonte Williams didn't have a true breakout until his third year, but that doesn't worry me much because, like I said, Michael Carter was an elite college running back. He's not an elite prospect, but he was an elite running back. So I can kind of take that for what it is. Javonte Williams is not going to come in there as a sophomore and completely replace a great running back in Michael Carter. And on the flip side of that, there's less tread on Javonte Williams' tires. He didn't have the insane amount of workload that some of these running backs carry. So he's going to be a little bit more fresher in the legs. He's not going to get hurt as much. And the main question mark when it comes to Javonte Williams, I love Javonte Williams' profile. I think that he's a great running back. It just comes down to his athleticism. Just like with Najee Harris, I'm not sure if he is... I'm not sure if he's Steven Jackson, Le'Veon Bell, freak athlete type guys, or if he's David Montgomery. And David Montgomery, don't get me wrong, David Montgomery's great, but even now, when you look back at that 2017 I think it was like 2019 draft class, I'm not sure that he was in the same tier as a Miles Sanders or Josh Jacobs. He's in that next tier, especially with like third round draft capital. That's what I could see for Javonte Williams if he doesn't run well. The lone running back in tier 2 is going to be Jamar Jefferson. I'm not going to go too deep into his profile because I'm dropping a series I'm going to do every week where I highlight one rookie profile that I think is getting slept on in rookie drafts right now, and that happened to be Jamar Jefferson last week. Now, I will cover it really quickly, but make sure if you want an in-depth analysis of that, make sure you go check out that video. I'll put it in the description down below. But to me, he's the Cam Akers of this draft class. He's 5'10", 217, looks just like Cam Akers. I think he's getting slept on in that same tier where, you had Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Swift. Then you had Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins. And Cam Akers ended up being a damn good running back. I think the same thing's going to happen for Jamar Jefferson. He's just not getting talked about as much as he should be right now. He had 15 yards for scrimmage and 25 receptions as a true freshman. He profiles as a do-it-all back. He's going to the 210 in Superflex drafts right now. I have him as the 111, and I could easily move him into tier 1 if he tests well. Moving into tier 3, we have probably the toughest evaluation of all the running backs. We have Trouba Hubbard out of Oklahoma State. He reminds me of that Bryce Love type college profile where he balls out, almost wins a damn Heisman, could have been a top 50 pick in the NFL draft. Then he comes back to Stanford, underperforms, tore his ACL, and now he sucks. Trouba Hubbard did kind of the same type of thing. He had 2,000 yards rushing, 21 touchdowns on the ground in 2019, was balling the fuck out. Then he follows that up with 7 games for 677 yards from scrimmage and 6 touchdowns with an ankle injury that forced him to sit out the rest of the season. I really don't even know what to make of his profile. If he just sat out this season and said, fuck it, I'm just going to opt out because of the COVID stuff, he'd probably be borderline tier 1 for me. When you come back and you go from averaging like 175 yards per game to like 98 and you only play 7 games and you suck this bad, he went from 6.5 yards per touch to 4.8. He just tanked his draft stock. It's not even so much that I've given up on him. I just know teams are going to give up on him. I know he's probably going to go 3rd round, and I think 3rd round's being optimistic. I think he probably goes 4th or 5th round, maybe even 6th round. The NFL, I think that they're going to be out on Trouba Hubbard after this year. So now you just have to sort of decide. He needs to run well. He needs to get the draft capital. And then even then, are we dealing with 2019 Trouba Hubbard or 2020 Trouba Hubbard? It's super tough to say. He's easily the biggest boomer bust guy at running back in this draft class. His upside is massive. He's 6 foot, 208. He ran track at OSU. He should run a 4.4 40. He looks like Lamar Miller / Tevin Coleman, which isn't amazing, but he's still capable of fringe RB1 seasons in the NFL, and that's being conservative. I could give him like the Chris Johnson. I could give him some sort of crazy comparison. It feels like a lot of people have the comparisons to guys who are like fucking all pros and Hall of Famers. I think if we're going to be conservative, if we're taking into the account what he did in college, I think Lamar Miller, Tevin Coleman is about right. He also had 22 receptions out of the backfield as a true freshman, so he has that 3-down skill set. Just depends on his combine, depends on the draft capital, and it depends on how the NFL views what he did in 2019 as opposed to what he did in 2020. If you made it all the way to the end of the video and you're watching the outro, man, I truly, truly appreciate it. Make sure you go down below, leave a like, subscribe. Make sure you join the Discord, man. I'm probably going to cut it off at like 50 members, 100 members. I'm not sure yet, but join the Discord. We're going to have subscriber leagues in there. If you have any trade questions, you can drop them in there. Any sort of Dynasty-related stuff, if you just want me to look over your roster, you can put them in there as well. I also have my Patreon down below, which has my rookie database, which has my rankings, all that kind of stuff in the Patreon down below. It's only like $5 a month. It's also going to have my seasonal rankings and all that stuff. It's pretty much just going to be an all-in express package for any type of content, any type of rankings that I'm putting out ever. And in there, you can ask me exclusive questions. Pretty much like it's pretty much like a fantasy football OnlyFans where you can really get straight to the source if you want to talk to me. Now, as always, man, I love you guys. I love the community we're building. Thank you so much for 550 subscribers. That's where we're at as of today. Make sure you follow me at @RonStewart_ on Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Me and my two niggas, we like Etienne. I'm Zach, UAC, that Jesse and Kelly. I pull up to your house, just let me know when you ready. I'm rolling up the glove in the face, be headed. Hold on, chill out, please give me a second. I'm drowsy off of